Good morning. So today we are going to be finally rolling out those little depressions in the green. So a lot of guys have been asking why I did that. The main reason was for better seed to soil contact. So if you look on a lot of the USGA articles, this is the way it's done on a lot of golf courses. I could have raked it afterwards and then rolled it again with something flat, but I really wanted to give this a try because we never did it at the golf course I was on. And I'll tell you what, the results show, like, there's even coverage all the way across. It's growing really, really well, and the grass is nice and healthy. So I'm glad I did it. So now we're just going to roll it out. It's not going to be too hard, just while the roots aren't too deep. Now this is not going to damage the seedlings. I'm going to do it today with a water roller. This one here, so I'll take on the green, fill it up with a little bit of water, not too much, probably only 20 litres or something like that. So it's not super heavy. And go from there. Man, that took me like nearly 2 hours. That is ridiculous. I think because if I found a spot that was really uneven, they actually push it around really easily with your foot and level it out. The green is pretty good. It's level over most areas. There's just one spot that a sprinkler has washed a tiny bit, which I just need to fix up with a little bit of top dressing and stuff. But I've got the irrigation going on now for 6 minutes per head, which will get it nice and wet. We've possibly got some storms coming in today, as you can see. So if we get a good rainstorm, not too heavy, but a little bit heavy, it'll actually help level out a bit of the sand as well. But that roller has got rid of all those dimples. I'll get some close-ups for you, and it looks a lot better. Man, look at that cast of green across there as well. It's definitely firmed up the surface nicely. Man, you can even see slight stripes out there. Not sure if you can see it on camera. The aim is to cut this when this bent gets to about 20 mil. So I'd say probably in about another 7 days, maybe a little bit more, but I don't think it's going to be that 21 days like I thought it was, because it's establishing a lot quicker than I thought it was. And once we start cutting, it'll start creeping sideways a lot more as well, filling in those little gaps here and there, which even those little gaps do have seed all throughout them. It's just not quite as thick. But yeah, mowing, keeping the water up to it, keeping that weekly fertilizer application up to it as well, is really going to help it spread sideways. And we'll start doing some light top dressing as well once we're within about 1 mow, possibly 2 mows. Keep getting questions about this black barrier. I'll explain it again. That will be coming out once I've done 1 to 2 mows on the bent grass, and nothing's going to be washing into each other, because I've done our last overseed on the rye, and the bent won't get any overseeds. It will just get mowing, fertilizing, and top dressing here and there. Been 3 days since I did that roll on the green. Look how much the colour is improving on this, how much it's starting to fill in. Starting to look great. Probably gonna give another roll today, but I need to get a cut on the ryegrass on the outside because it is getting long. I'm gonna do it with the GM1000 because there's a bit of bark chip in a couple of spots in a couple of different places, because that reel needs to be sent away to get ground anyway. So risk it with that mower. That's sort of my bringing things in mower at the moment because it's quite old. So let's get a cut on it, and I'm gonna give the green a roll as well. Man, that is growing fast. I think we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 catches off that. So close to a catcher every single time I went one run around it, which is about 100 meters, I guess, the whole way around. So it sort of makes sense. We need to get some plant growth regulator on here. Someone put down some Primo Max, I think. at a really, really low rate though. So about 2 mil per 100 square meters. This grass that I sowed hasn't really popped up through that topsoil yet, or the top dress that we put down. So probably a perfect time to get that plant growth rate regulated down right now. So basically the reason we're going at such a low rate is because we're just basically trying to make the lawn tiller and thicken up. So it's going to help that one plant of ryegrass tiller out and have the other shoots off the side of it as well. So instead of one plant being like thin like that, it can actually bunch out and be quite big. Maybe we'll roll it and then I'll spray it. So looking at the green, you can see there is a few thin spots like this spot just here. That just germinated a bit later from what I noticed, and same with this spot here, so they will catch up. And once we start doing mowing, regular fertilizing, which we're already starting to do our regular fertilizing, these spots here will really start to fill in. Now, I want to explain to you guys the reason as to why I used the bunker rake and there's knobby tires to do this. So I've got an example here for you. So this is where the bunker rake came in and pushed it all down nice and deep and helped it germinate and retain moisture a lot, because remember we're doing this in sand, so it's a lot harder to retain moisture, whereas the edges here I only smushed it down with my feet and then used the back of a rake to compact it down. So you can see it is a lot thinner throughout the guts here, and we don't have germination that's quite as even as the rest of the area. So it's really just helped with seed to soil contact and help the germination and strike rate be a lot better across the whole green. Now it is going to fill in looking a little bit checkerboardy. I did say that in the original video when I ran the bunker rake out, but it's not going to take long to fill in. Once we start mowing, it's creeping bent grass, so it's going to creep sideways. There is actually germination between those gaps as well, just not as thick. And yeah, we're gonna have to do some regular top dressing as well. Top dressing the whole area with the same type of sand, mowing, fertilizing, and this thing should fill in within the next 6 to 8 weeks if the weather holds up nicely. We don't really get many frosts down here, so we could keep this thing growing through winter if all goes well. But the green is definitely getting thicker by the day, as you can see. It really is quite filled in for, how many days are we at now? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Day 12 today on the green. Like, sometimes you don't even have bent grass germinate until day 10. So we are way ahead at the moment, which is awesome. Because we pre-soaked it and we primed the seed with our fungicide and our fertilizers and stuff, it came up a little bit earlier. And having it actually compressed down with those knobby tires, in my opinion, has really made it germinate really, really well and come up super, super quick as well. Check out how dewy that is this morning. So we're going to brush the dew off with my lawn level actually. Just because we can. We don't really have to because we've got some fungicide down there, but it is quite dewy this morning. Just want to be careful of disease, especially in growing. You've got to be really careful of seed dampening, pythium, and a couple of different diseases as well. This time of year in my climate is very high chance of dollar spot. We're probably not going to get this dollar spot here because we're feeding it really well with some fertilizer, but let's dew it off and then we'll get some primo on the outside. So I haven't talked to you guys about this yet, but when we're going to cut this is when this is at about 20 mil, close to it, doesn't have to be exact on. So let's just have a look now. This is some of the shorter stuff. 16, 17 mil, 20 mil, some of that stuff. This is the really short. That's about 12 mil. 20 mil. Tell you what, man, like, woohoo, we are nearly ready for a cut. I'll tell you what, it's rooted down nicely, so it's not going to be a problem cutting it. Just trying to decide what mower I want to use. I'm probably going to use the, I don't really know. Probably the John Deere, because it's cutting so much cleaner, and we're going to be cutting up high enough that we shouldn't collect any sand too. I reckon next video you guys see is going to get a mow. So as you guys can imagine, the green definitely needs a bit of top dressing to get rid of some uneven patches on there. It's just the way it is. Like, you're never going to get it perfect, even if you've got a screed out. Like, things are going to shift when you're watering, got heavy rain, everything. So we definitely have to get some top dressing done on there once we start mowing. Just some light dustings to level out a lot of areas. Probably won't be any overseeding because there isn't really any big bare patches. So we're just going to let it creep in. We've got enough time before winter for that to happen. But yeah, anyway, let's put down this primo. I've also put some survival in here, some kelp, just to help with their root system as well. Remember, we're only doing a super duper low rate on this, so it's not going to suppress growth too much, just a tiny bit, but it's more to help the ryegrass tiller more than anything, and let the new seed sort of pop up through there and catch up as much as it can, which it should do anyway, because yeah, the new seed's growing like crazy at the moment because it's just looking lush. No need for fert today because it's grown enough and it's got heaps of colour and it's nice and healthy, just the survival and the plant growth regulator. All done. So next video, hopefully we'll be mowing this, giving the liquid fert. We'll see how much we get off it, I guess. We're probably going to cut from 20 mil down to about 8 mil. Obviously most of it's not at 20 mil. There's some patches actually down the bottom where it's really thick. I just checked it just before and it's at legit like 25, 26 mil. So some of it's growing really crazy where it's getting a little bit more moisture. So this is ticking along. So we're at day 13 today. Do you know they say to mow around 3 weeks when you'll get to about 20 mil, but we've just had basically the perfect weather. Been able to control it with irrigation because we haven't had much rain. Been fertilizing it well, and it's just ticked along. I really think priming it too with that fungicide and the fertilizer in the bucket for 2 days prior really gave us a head start, and using the bunker rake little knobs to push it down has just helped us get really good germination and strike across the whole area. Anyway, thank you guys so much, appreciate yous. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, like this video if you're enjoying this series. I'll see you guys in the next vid.